The series begins on June 14th, 2021, with a 17-year-old girl named Leia, who is at a party with her friends. They are all having a great time, yet Leia keeps remembering her constant feeling of loneliness, and she keeps drinking while trying to forget that feeling. She goes to a guy at the party and asks him for drugs, but he refuses and tells her she has already taken too much for the day and that it's enough. However, Leia doesn't listen and secretly steals the pills from him without him noticing. Leia steps away from the people at the party and goes to sit alone by the river, and she starts thinking about ending her life. But she then sees something strange in front of her, which turns out to be the arm of a decomposed skeleton wearing a silver bracelet. Leia is shocked by what she sees and decides to report it to the police station. There, Detective Ben tells her that they will file a report and search through the list of missing persons to identify the body. From the appearance of the bones, she assumes it is a young man's body and asks Leia if the person had taken his own life, since the body was found in an empty area near the water. So it's possible he went there intentionally to end his life. But the detective tells her that while that is possible, they cannot confirm anything until the investigation progresses. The police then call Leia's parents so they can come pick her up, and on the way home, her mother Karine yells at her for going to that party without permission. Unlike her father Stefan, who understands the state she is in after what she saw and refuses to scold her, Leia returns home, where she lives with her father, mother, grandfather, and grandmother, and she goes into her room to sleep. Leia wakes up the next day and finds her room different, with a boy sleeping beside her in the room. She wonders if the drugs she took could have caused all of this. She goes to the mirror and discovers that she has turned into a boy. Then she notices that she is wearing the same bracelet she found yesterday on the young man's body. She realizes that her soul is now in this young man's body, and we learn that his name is Ismael, and that he lives with his brother Sufyan, his father and his mother, and that they are of Arab origin. Leia, now in Ismael's body, tries to explain to them that she is not their son anymore, and that she has no idea what happened, but they don't respond to her and think that their son has gone crazy. Sufyan quotes a line from a movie and is surprised that Ismael doesn't react, even though they both know that movie by heart and watch it a lot. Leia, in Ismael's body, tries to make Sufyan believe her and tells him that she is actually a girl named Leia and that she came from the future. Sufyan goes along with it and tells his brother that if his body was really switched with a girl's, then they have to go back to the place where the problem started so everything can be fixed. Leia is convinced and decides to go to the beach where she found the body, hoping she can return to her own body. But while they are talking, their father walks in to take them with him before they are late, since they work with him on an important man's farm in the village. The two boys leave with him, and Sufyan tries to distract their father so Ismael can escape. Leia, still in Ismael's body, escapes and heads to the road to try to find a car to take her to the river, but no one agrees to pick her up because she is now in the body of a dark-skinned Arab boy. So Leia takes off her t-shirt and tries to seduce any girl passing by using Ismael's body. Until a car with two women stops and they let him in. And on the way, Leia passes by her school in the future and finds that it looks very old, so she gets out to understand what happened. She discovers that she has gone back in time to June 15th, 1991, and she becomes nervous and keeps bumping into people as she walks. Then she sits and cries until a woman who knows Ismael arrives. Her name is Patricia, and she tells Ismael that she will take him to his friends. She takes him to a place where Leia sees her grandfather and grandmother when they were still young, but they cannot recognize her. After that, Patricia takes her to two of Ismael's friends, and Leia discovers that they are actually her father and mother, and that they are still in high school. She learns that they had a band with Ismael, so Leia tries to tell them that she is their daughter and that she came to them from the future, but they laugh at her. Patricia asks them to play music in front of her right now, so she can decide whether to book them for the event in a few days or not. But Leia obviously doesn't know how to play anything and ruins everything. Patricia refuses to let them enter the competition and leaves them. Then, Ismael's father arrives and tells him that the son of the farm owner, whose name is Pierre, saw him running away from work earlier today. His father yells at him and takes him home, and Leia gets upset with herself for ruining Ismael's life. She decides she has to help him, and she finds Ismael's notebook next to the bed and sees his drawings and his song lyrics and learns that he is someone who loves music very much. Leia takes the notebook and goes to a specific place to hide it, because if she finds it in the future, that means what she is experiencing now is not a dream. And then Pierre, the farm owner's son, arrives and fights with Ismael because he left work and ran away. And we learn that they are all in the same grade at school. He then hits him and walks away. Leah, in Ismael's body, goes to take a shower and feels very embarrassed about her new body. She falls asleep sitting in the bathtub, and the next day, Leah wakes up and finds herself back in her own body and in her room. She checks the date and realizes that it's June 15th, 2021, so she understands that everything she saw was just a dream. She searches online and finds out that the police are holding a meeting to explain to the townspeople about the body they found after many rumors spread in town. Leah decides to attend the meeting, but first she goes to the place where she buried Ismael's notebook. She is shocked when she finds it in the same place, and she realizes that this was not just a dream and begins to suspect that Ismael might have been killed and that he is trying to take her to the past so she can save him from losing his life. Leah goes to the meeting and takes her friend Roman with her after she tells her everything. And of course, her friend does not believe any of it, but she follows her anyway. In the meeting, Detective Ben says that they still don't know whose body it is. Leah objects and tells her she is sure it's Ismael's body, who has been missing for 30 years because of his silver bracelet. Sufyan, Ismael's brother, who is now grown up and looks very different, yells and blames the government for failing in their duty because Ismael is of Arab origin. After the meeting, Leah goes back to her room and holds the notebook, thinking about Ismael and who could have killed him. Leah falls asleep and wakes up the next day, shocked to find herself in the body of her mother, Karine. And we learn that she has gone back again to June 16, 1991, and she sees a red box next to her containing pictures of her mother and pictures of Ismael. She also finds a keychain that says they will soon be in Paris achieving their dream, and Leah starts to suspect that her mother, Karine, was in a relationship with Ismael. Leah leaves the room and meets her grandmother, who is Karine's mother, and then her mother says goodbye to go to school. There, Leah, in Karine's body, sits with Stefan, her boyfriend who will become Leah's father in the future, and Ismael comes up to them and tells them that he woke up today and found himself sleeping in the bathtub, and that he doesn't remember anything from yesterday and can't find his notebook. Leah gets an idea, which is to take Ismael out with her so she can learn about his relationship with her mother. The two of them go to Patricia so Ismael can apologize, and he plays music in front of her to prove he is good. So Patricia agrees to book them for a show on June 21st, 1991. After that, Ismael and Leah, in Karine's body, go to the farm and Ismael steals some weed. But Pierre, the farm owner's son, who is also in their class, sees him and tells him he will wait for him tomorrow at school to get his revenge. They then go to sit by the beach for a while, and Leah learns that Ismael and Karine were planning to travel to Paris soon and perform shows there, but they still haven't told Stefan anything. Leah, in Karine's body, gets close to Ismael to kiss him, but Ismael pulls away and tells her they are just friends and that he doesn't want Stefan to be upset with him. Leah understands that there is nothing between Karine and Ismael, but she herself starts to feel that she likes Ismael. Later, Leah and Ismael go to see Stefan and tell him about traveling to Paris and that it's the only way for their band to continue. But Stefan refuses to go with them because he cannot leave his job with his father and travel. But Ismael says he has nothing that would make him stay here and that he will wait for their final answer. Then he leaves. Stefan gets very angry at Karine because he feels that something is going on between her and Ismael, and he keeps hitting his hand against the wall in anger, and Leah tries to calm him down, but she can't. Leah goes home, and Karine's mother asks her if she applied to the music academy or not, since today is the last day. But Karine tells her that she wants to travel with her band to Paris and perform there. Her mother yells at her and refuses to let her travel, telling her that she will handle it and apply to the academy for her. Leah goes to sleep, and the next day, she wakes up in her own body again and finds out that today is June 16th, 2021. She thinks about what she saw while being in her mother's body and understands that her mother did not travel to Paris with the band so she could stay next to her father, and they were able to get married. Leah leaves her room and sees her father and mother, and she tells them that they could have become a very successful band if they had traveled to Paris and continued playing music. Stefan and Karine are shocked by what their daughter says and do not understand how she knows all of this. Leah goes to her school and tells her friend Roman what she experienced, and Roman laughs at her because she is interested in someone who died 30 years ago. The detective arrives and tells Leah that her assumptions were correct and that the body indeed belonged to Ismael. Later, Leah goes home and finds the detective asking her family if they have any other information about Ismael, but they tell her the matter is old and they don't remember anything else. The detective leaves, and Leah blames her father and mother for being close to Ismael, but denying all of that. And they refuse to help the police, so her mother, Karine, tells her that it is just a painful memory they don't like to remember. Leah goes to her room, but steals her mother's tablet and unlocks it, and she finds messages with an unknown person where her mother tells him she misses him and wants to see him. Leah is surprised that her mother refused to betray her father 30 years ago, but is cheating on him now. Leah goes to sleep and hears her parents arguing, and Stefan tells his wife that he will call the detective and tell her what he knows. Leah follows her father and asks him to tell her the truth, but he only tells her that their band had a show on June 21st, 1991. But Ismael smoked a lot of weed that day and never showed up. He tells her that after the concert, they found out he had died. Leah goes back to her room and finds in her mother's things a picture of Pierre with bruises on his face. So Leah assumes that Pierre and Ismael fought after Ismael stole the weed from him, and that Ismael must have managed to hit Pierre, which is why Pierre later decided to take revenge on Ismael and kill him. Leah goes to sleep and wakes up the next day to find herself in Pierre's body and realizes that she is now on June 17, 1991. She finds that Pierre was with a girl in the room named Jennifer, and Jennifer gets upset when she sees that Pierre doesn't remember her or know her name, so she gets angry and leaves him. Leah puts on Pierre's clothes and goes to take the school bus, and she sits next to Pierre's friends. While they are talking, a beautiful girl named Sandra gets on the bus, who will become Pierre's wife in the future, and Pierre's classmates start flirting with her. They are surprised when Pierre tries to stop them from their behavior, sensing that something is different about their friend. And Pierre's friends say that today is the fight with Ismael, and the whole school is waiting for that fight to watch. As soon as Leah arrives at school, she goes into the bathroom to talk with Ismael and tells him that she forgave him for the weed he stole and that she doesn't want them to fight. But Ismael refuses and says they have to fight in front of the whole school. Leah has an idea. If she can beat Ismael today and defeat him, Pierre will have no reason later to take revenge on Ismael, and therefore he won't kill him. So Leah decides she must defeat Ismael. After that, Pierre's friends mock Jennifer because she is fat and nobody at school likes her. So Leah goes and apologizes to Jennifer, who had been with him in the morning, and kisses her in front of the whole school to prove to her that she is beautiful. The time comes for the fight between Ismael and Pierre, and Leah, in Pierre's body, succeeds in defeating Ismael. She goes to Ismael and tells him they are done. Then, Leah goes to Pierre's house and finds Jennifer coming to see her after they reconciled. She gets close to Leah in Pierre's body, and they have a relationship, and then they sleep. Leah wakes up the next day and finds herself back in her own body again, and she opens the news to find the report about the discovery of Ismael's body still there. So she realizes that even after what she did yesterday, Ismael's life will still end. Leah goes to meet Pierre after he has grown up and works at his father's company. Karine, Leah's mother, works with him at the same company, so Leah hides from them and goes in to meet Pierre. She tells him that she suspects he is the one who killed Ismael long ago, but Pierre denies it. Leah leaves his office, but she overhears him telling Karine, her mother, what happened, and then she sees them kissing, and Leah gets upset that her mother is cheating on her father at this age. Leah goes to her university and tells her friend Roman everything that happened. Then she goes to look for a friend of theirs named Laura. When she doesn't find her, she decides to ask Laura's mother, who works at the cafeteria in front of the school. Leah is shocked to find that Laura's mother has the same tattoo Jennifer had on her arm, and she realizes that Laura's mother is Jennifer. Jennifer laughs at Leah and tells her she never got married and doesn't have any daughters at all. And Leah realizes that when she fixed Pierre and Jennifer's relationship, she changed both of their futures, causing each of them not to marry the person they were supposed to marry, and therefore their friend Laura no longer exists. Leah feels bad and decides that if she goes back into any of their lives again, she will fix everything she messed up and won't let anything else in their past change. She decides she will make Jennifer get back with Luke, who is supposed to be her future husband, and she will also make Pierre and Sandra get together. Leah goes home to sleep, determined that when she wakes up, she will ruin Pierre's relationship with Jennifer. She wakes up the next day on June 18th, 1991, in Sandra's body, and is shocked to learn that Sandra is from a very poor family and has many siblings. She also sees that Sandra's father is a very strict man who controls his daughter, while Leah, in Sandra's body, is sitting and changing clothes for Sandra's younger siblings. She misses the school bus and decides she must catch it quickly, no matter how she looks, because she is afraid she might ruin both families' future because of her. Leah gets on the bus, and people keep laughing at how she looks. She goes into class and keeps throwing paper at Pierre to make him look at her and talk to her, but he yells at her and embarrasses her in front of the class because he had been in a relationship with Sandra for a while, but she suddenly broke up with him. Leah is shocked by what she hears because she didn't know about their relationship at all, and she spends the whole day feeling unwell and goes back not knowing the reason. After that, Leah, in Sandra's body, goes to meet Luc, who is supposed to marry Jennifer so they can have Laura, and she tells him that she knows he loves Jennifer. Luc confesses to Sandra that he does love her, but is too shy to tell her, especially since he recently found out that she was in a relationship with Pierre. Leah reassures him and tells him she will fix everything for him, and while they are talking, she starts feeling very sick and guesses that these might be pregnancy symptoms. She gets a pregnancy test and finds out she is actually pregnant. She goes to Pierre's house to make up with him and get their relationship back, and she conditions that he must leave Jennifer if he wants them to continue together. Pierre agrees because he loves Sandra, and then Leah tells him that she is pregnant by him, and she is surprised by Pierre's reaction because he is happy, which is the opposite of what she expected. Then they hear noise coming from downstairs and learn that Pierre's father is fighting with Ismael because he found a weed plant on his farm and accuses Ismael of dealing drugs. Leah knows that the drugs actually belong to Pierre, but she cannot say anything. Pierre's father kicks Ismael out of the farm and tells him never to come back again. She runs after him to see what he is going to do. At that time, Ismael goes to his friends Karine and Stefan, tells them that he even lost his job and that he has no solution left except to travel to Paris. But Karine shocks him and tells him that she applied to a music academy in London and got accepted. And Stefan says that he must stay here and take his father's job. Ismael feels that his friends have abandoned him and breaks down, then leaves them. After that, Johnson, Sandra's brother, who is very close to her and knows everything about her, arrives and asks her if she has decided to keep the baby or to end the pregnancy. Leah is afraid of making decisions for someone else that might ruin their life, and she tells Johnson she doesn't know what to decide right now and asks him to ask her the same question tomorrow, and she will give him her final answer. Leah goes to Sandra's house and sleeps, and she wakes up the next day in her real body. She goes to check if their friend Laura exists or not, and she finds her there. Then she goes to meet Johnson and learns that he actually did help his sister back then and asked her many times if she wanted to keep the baby or not. Leah is very happy and feels that she has fixed the future of both families. After that, she meets Detective Ben and learns from her that Ismael was killed by a gunshot. Leah goes home and discovers that her family found Ismael's notebook in her room, so she tells them everything that has happened to her, but they mock her and don't believe her. Leah gets upset with them and exposes her mother Karine, telling her father that she is cheating on him, and Stefan is shocked by what he hears and leaves them. At the same time, Karine decides she will not stay in that house anymore, packs her bags, and leaves. Leah lives alone in the house after her family leaves her, and she calls her friend Roman and asks her to come so they can sleep over at Leah's grandparents' place. When it is time to sleep, Roman decides to turn on the video camera and leave it recording all night so they can see in the morning what happens to Leah's body when she turns into a different person. Leah wishes that she would wake up the next day in her father Stefan's body so she can make him reconcile with Ismael. Leah wakes up the next day and finds herself in Patricia's body. Someone knocks on the door, and Leah realizes that Karine is coming to get drugs from Patricia. But Leah doesn't know where they are hidden, so Karine gets confused and points Patricia toward her secret hiding spot. She takes the drugs and leaves. And after a while, Ismael comes to Patricia's house after fighting with his family and leaving home. Patricia offers him to stay with her, and we learn that Ismael and Patricia love each other, but they cannot be together because of the age difference. She tries to talk to him and make him promise not to do anything to himself, no matter how hopeless he feels, and he does promise her. Then they have a relationship, and Ismael asks Patricia to tell Pierre's father the truth that his son is the one dealing drugs, but Leah is afraid to interfere again in someone else's life and refuses. Ismael gets upset with her and tells her that she is selfish too, and leaves her. Leah notices a gun next to Patricia's bed and assumes it is the weapon used to kill Ismael, or the one he used to take his own life. Leah falls asleep and wakes up back in her own body, and they find that the video didn't record anything strange and that Leah only goes to the past with her soul. She takes her friend Roman with her to go look for Patricia. They learn from her shop owner that she was once accused in a case of ending the life of her husband Daniel. But she was released due to lack of evidence. Leah and Roman find Patricia's address and go to meet her. And Leah tells her she knows that she is the one who killed her husband in the past, and that she also ended Ismael's life with the gun she kept next to her bed. Patricia is shocked and breaks down, telling them that she did kill her husband once while he was beating her, and that she was trying to defend herself, but she did not kill Ismael. She then kicks them out of her house, and Leah and Roman leave. On their way home, they see Patricia throwing her gun into the river, and Leah becomes even more suspicious of her. Then, Leah is on her way home and sees her father drunk in the street, so she becomes very worried about him and takes him with her to get him home. Her father keeps saying Ismael's name over and over again and says he was the only person who understood him. Then he falls asleep. Leah goes to her room to sleep, and she wakes up the next day in her father Stefan's body on June 20th, 1991. She wears her father's clothes and goes to work with his father, and Karine comes to take him so they can rehearse for their concert that will be tomorrow. The three of them go to rehearse, but a fight breaks out between Ismael and Karine, and they decide they will not perform together and force Stefan to choose which one he wants to continue with. Leah is afraid that Ismael will be hurt, but at the same time, she is afraid that her parents' relationship will become worse, so she chooses Karine, and Ismael gets upset and leaves. Then after a while, Leah goes to Patricia's place, and she finds Pierre there also looking for her angrily because Patricia told his father that his son was dealing drugs, and Pierre's father hit him, which is why he is upset with Patricia and Ismael. After that, Leah goes to make up with Ismael, and the two of them decide to camp together outdoors until the next day. They set up the tent, and Ismael sits with his friend Stefan, and it is the first time they speak honestly. Ismael tells him that he must be honest with himself and admit to Karine that he does not love her, and that he is actually gay, but he is too ashamed to say it. Leah is shocked by what she hears about her father. She leaves Ismael and goes to her father's house in distress and finds Karine waiting there for Stefan. She cries until she falls asleep. Leah wakes up the next day in her own body on June 20th, 2021, and it is the day of Ismael's funeral after they found his body. All his friends are devastated during the funeral, and Stefan and Karine go up to say a few words to bid farewell to their friend. Sandra goes up after them and apologizes to Ismael while standing next to his body. The funeral ends, and then they go to bury him, and Leah becomes excited because she is supposed to wake up the next day in the past on the date Ismael died so she can save him. But her friend Roman tells her that if she saves Ismael, that means her father will reveal his sexuality and her parents will break up, and therefore Leah will not exist in the future. Leah is shocked by what she hears and understands that she is required to choose between her life and Ismael's life. She spends the whole day thinking about her friend's words, and Leah chooses to let Ismael's life end so that she can be born. She gets a lot of energy drinks and keeps drinking them so she can stay awake at night and not sleep and go back in time to that day. But she can't resist and falls asleep. Leah wakes up on June 21st, 1991 in Ismael's body and decides to go to the band's concert with her friends. There, they meet Stefan, who is very angry at Ismael and tells him that if he tells Karine that he is gay, he will end his life. After a while, Patricia gathers them all and they sit drinking drugs together until they get drunk and lose control of their behavior. Patricia discovers that the gun that was in her bag is missing, and they find Pierre holding it without being aware of what he is doing. They all fight over the gun, trying to take it away from Pierre, until Stefan gets it and wants to kill Ismael. It becomes clear that Stefan has loved him for a long time, but Ismael never noticed, and is also afraid that he will be exposed in front of Karine. As soon as Stefan fires the shot at Ismael, he jumps into the water before it hits him, but they all think Stefan killed him and that Ismael is dead. At that moment, some thugs appear and find Ismael lying near the rocks. They are used to bothering him because he is an Arab boy and doesn't look like them, and they tease him and throw him back into the water until Ismael is about to die. But he wakes up at the last moment, and the guys get scared that he might report them. So they decide to finish him off and leave him lying there. One of them is Johnson, Sandra's brother. So Leah feels that this is her last chance to save Ismael. She tries to beg Johnson and tells him that he is a good person and not like his friends. Johnson is moved and leaves Ismael alive without killing him. Leah goes back to the concert and finds Stefan blaming himself, thinking he is the one who ended Ismael's life, and he wants to turn himself into the police. But the others stop him and tell him that they were all drunk and didn't mean it. Patricia refuses to let them tell the police what happened because the gun is unlicensed, and she is afraid she will go to prison. They all remain feeling guilty and break down over their friend's death until Ismael walks in and hugs them, letting them know he is alive. They all all go back into the concert again, and they play and Ismael sings, and the concert becomes a huge success against all expectations. After that, Leah goes with Stefan and Karine, and they sit together watching the sunrise before going to sleep. Leah apologizes to them for the hardship she caused in their lives, and that she didn't understand that her father's pain was because he thought he was the one who ended his only friend's life long ago, and that her mother had always tried to ease his suffering. But Karine and Stefan don't understand what their friend Ismael is saying to them and are not paying attention. Then Stefan apologizes to Karine as well, telling her he cannot continue with her, that he doesn't want to hurt her, and that she is a beautiful girl. But he is gay, and they won't be happy if they get married. At the same time, Karine decides to go continue her studies in London and tells Stefan that she is not upset with him. And Leah is happy that she was able to choose a happy future for them, even if she won't exist in it. She decides to write in Ismael's notebook everything that happened to her and how she was able to save him. And with that, Leah disappears forever, and Ismael wakes up the next day, sees the notebook, and thinks his friends are just joking with him. Then he goes home, and his father apologizes for believing the farm owner and doubting his own son, and asks Ismael to come live with them again. Ismael agrees, and goes to his room to rest. But before he falls asleep, he asks his brother Sufyan if he knows a girl named Leah, because he saw the name written at the end of the story in the notebook. His brother shocks him by saying that this is the same name he woke up mentioning some time ago, saying that he was actually the soul of a girl named Leah, but trapped in Ismael's body. In the end, Ismael understands that the entire written story is not a joke and that a girl really came from the future to save him and died instead, sacrificing her life so he could live.